Hi friends, it's Caitlin and welcome back to the Floating Rock Podcast. I hope you're having the most incredible day ever. I come to you this morning. I feel so like cozy and cute and fun. It's like 7 in the morning. I've done this like once before and I really, really like it. So I kind of want to start recording more like right in the morning. And I think it's funny too because do you ever like to think about the things that you do in your life that would just send somebody else into a coma? Who the hell wakes up and within 30 minutes of waking up sits in front of the pod? There's a lot of people I could not pay to do that. But that's what's beautiful about the world is people have different things that they like and their different strengths. And I love it. Because like if the world was full of people like me, we'd all be dead. Anyway, today is short and sweet. And it's just a little reminder in a way and a little thought I was having. Basically, I was hanging out with a friend yesterday and we were just having a lot of conversations about like, sort of bigger life decisions and changes. And something it reminded me of was the idea of like listening to the universe. And you can take that as listening to God or listening to your intuition or listening to something, dare I say, a little higher or bigger than you. And that can be manifest in whatever way you want it to be. But it pinged in my mind during this conversation. And I thought, you know what, I should go on the pod and talk about this because I feel like, while I am still only 22, I feel like there are some things on the pod where I'm like, okay, like how much can I talk about this? But I'm like, you know what? I feel like I've actually seen a decent amount of examples of this in my life. And I'm like, wait, I love, yay. So just thought I'd come on and talk about the art of listening to the universe and kind of reminding you of that, of the importance of that. So like I said, why do I have experience with this? Let me tell you my credentials. And you could chalk this up to anything, but in my head, it comes back to this whole listening to the universe thing. So it makes me think of choosing my college major. Maybe I've told this story on the pod, but super, super briefly, there was one day, senior year of high school, I think, or junior, I don't know, where I'm just like pacing around my living room. I remember it so vividly. And I had the revelation of just, if I don't do it now, the whole TV writing, the whole entertainment, the whole creativity, I'll never do it. I was picking between TV writing and psych. And thank God, girl, thank God. But example number 1, listening to the universe. Like I have grown up always doing creative things, from dance to theater to music. Like I've always been creative. And in my head, a way of listening to the universe and manifesting that was that day. And I was like, well, there's always been something pulling me to this and I've always been doing it. So it almost feels like I would be moving in friction or moving against what the universe would want by choosing a safe route, if you will. And then Ohina, like the fellowship I was just in, even that, maybe it wasn't as cosmic, but I went on my whole networking spree from like sophomore year of college on, and almost everybody that I would talk to from Hawaii would be like, are you applying to Ohina? Are you applying to Ohina? And just kind of followed me. And I was just like, okay, sure. And then here we are now. Same with the pageant. I just told you guys this last week, but my uncle has been telling me to do this thing for pretty much my entire life. And, I kind of waved it off. And finally I was like, you know what? Sure. And here we are again. And I feel like my last example too is something that me and my friend talked about a lot yesterday. I'm in entertainment and then I moved back home to Hawaii, whereas a lot of people I know moved to LA, which is kind of like what you do. And that's not to say that one is better than the other. I feel like similar to that college major sort of thing, it just felt natural to come back here. And I feel like moving to LA immediately would have been me moving in friction with the universe, because I feel like coming home, while it doesn't mean I have the big Netflix job or whatever, after reflecting and having this conversation with her yesterday, I was like, wow, but I feel like doing that and listening to the universe really manifested into a life I'm very happy with here. So those are my credentials, if you will, and maybe even some inspiration already. But yeah, I just thought that I've talked about this before too. There is like a lot of power in like silence, and I'm not incredible at that. I think a lot of us are not incredible at that these days. Like there's so much to listen to, music, podcasts, TV shows, just even having people around, But I feel like there just can be so much power in just shutting up and sitting and listening. Like for example too, I feel like, I've talked about this before on the pod, but a lot of the time when I'm stumped about what to talk about for the pod, I have to very, very intentionally, whether that's a hike, a walk, even just a shower without any sort of entertainment, that's when the idea comes. And it's honestly a little bit crazy because I think we don't truly notice or realize how blocking the constant noise is. And it's on like, it's not a horrible thing, but almost like sometimes you really don't realize it. Because for this idea, I was just like, I could play a podcast while I take this shower, but I'm not going to. And then boom, within 3 minutes, I had an idea. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's actually kind of insane how we voluntarily just like block our brains. Like, whoa, if you put it like that, like not to sound super like anti-phone or entertainment, but like, kind of, isn't that kind of insane that like a lot of the time, like these things are just kind of blocks and like distractions. But as a girl with anxiety, sometimes that's a very, very good thing to have around, right? But I love this idea. I heard this on a podcast before, and I've shared it once before, a long time ago. I heard this saying that ideas are like clouds, and they all exist already in the stratosphere. But when it's your turn with an idea, the idea is yours, the cloud will be above you, it will rain down on you, like that is your idea. But the thing is, clouds move, rain stops. So I think especially when it comes to this whole listening thing, whether it is big life decisions or whether it's a podcast episode idea or whether it's what to write your paper about, or there's so many things I think that we just are confused about all the time that really we could gain so much just by listening. I feel like I like the idea and the visualization that a lot of times when it is an idea tangibly, if you will, a lot of time it is kind of like that cloud analogy where not only is it yours for you right now and it's meant to be in that whole cloud right above you, but also it's fleeting and it's gonna go to someone else. And I think that too can also make you move with much haste in your life as well. And in my head, in a good way, in a more inspirational way of this is mine right now and I need to run with it or it's going to move away from me. I've even had other funny examples of that too, where I'll have that cloud, the idea for a podcast episode, and maybe I just won't write down enough about it in my notes and the cloud moves on. And like there's a few things that I just kind of have a title and then I'm like, oh, like I didn't think about it enough when the cloud was mine and now it's just kind of sitting there. But you never know, the cloud might come back, right? And maybe I'll have some good thoughts about it, but I think that's like kind of crazy too. I also feel like in the sake of listening to the universe and to people and stuff, that's actually where I was going with this. Listening in relationships, like not only is it the whole like listening to the universe thing, in a way, if you want to go with the whole we are just the universe experiencing itself, I've always thought that we know way more than we think. And it just reminds me of like, for some reason, some conversation I had freshman year of college where this girl's like, oh, like, I don't know if he likes me and like, I don't know. And I was like, Diva, let's just look at the facts. Like, we know more than we think. Like, she was confused about what this guy thought. And I was like, he talks to you all the time. I'm like, we know. And we like to confuse ourselves for fun because we have doubt. You know what I mean? Like, I think so much of the time, whenever we're confused about stuff, especially interpersonally, it's our own noise making it confusing. Like, a lot of the time, people sort of show you kind of exactly what's up. Generally, the crazy men are an exception and stuff, but you know what I mean? And I think that's a huge thing too. And just, yeah, being open to listening. And something I wrote down, which I think goes with this well, is I think sometimes what blocks us from listening is expectation. And like I said, our own noise. And like I said, I think when it comes to like dream following and, listening to the universe for those bigger life plans, I think a lot of time we can block that out because we have expectations for ourselves. And a lot of the time, the universe knows more than you, and she knows what is better for you, what's going to work out, and maybe it's just not what you thought it would look like. And sometimes it's hard too, because even when you do listen, it still might not look like what you thought you wanted. And then that will create doubt of like, oh, like maybe that was the wrong choice, or blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I've talked about this on the pod too. Like a lot of the time, you get what you want out of life in different fonts, but the core value of what it is what you have gotten. I was prepping for the pageant interview. Today's episode's all over the place, guys. Sorry, I'm just riffing. But I was prepping for the pageant interview, and I asked chat, I was like, give me a bunch of questions, whatever. And one of the questions was, what does success look like to you in your field? Or like in TV writing and whatever. And, like there's a world where the answer is you have a hit show, you are Shonda Rhimes in the TV writing world. But to another extent, honestly, which, could be misconstrued if you have those two different expectations, the Shonda Rhimes versus this one. Another thought I really had that I was like, kind of like, yeah, like would just be working on a show that you love and being able to pay for the life that you want. Be something that supports you financially and that you love it. And I think to me, at the bottom line, that's what success in kind of any field would look like. But I think a lot of the time we think that success only looks like the biggest, top, most popular, famous, world-renowned whatever. But I'm like, realistically, a lot of us just want to do something we love and be able to live, a life of somewhat comfort, right? And I don't know, I think that's really interesting. But yeah, I think a lot of the time that big block for listening to the universe is what we think we want. And I think sometimes we can get very tied to tangible, sort of real life, the 3D, there it is, the 3D things that we want. Living in a specific place, having that very specific job, having that very specific partner. When at the end of the day, it's the qualities of the place, the qualities of the partner, and the qualities of the job, and not the actual one. And also, like I kind of mentioned too, I really do think you can manifest so much more abundance, more than you ever really would have thought, from that listening and leaning in and almost letting the universe, letting life, if you will, just kind of move you where you're supposed to move, and you might just flourish better. Almost like, it makes me think too of like a planter box, right? And let's say that's the entire world and, kind of places you can even be mentally. And then, generally it's all similar, right? We all just poured the same soil in, the same rocks at the bottom, but maybe there's just this one corner that got a little better soil, has a little better sunlight, and gets a little more water. And you would never know because it looks not maybe like anything special, but you'll actually flourish more there than you would anywhere else. And you would have never guessed that. And also, you might flourish there more, but someone else's seed, if you will, wouldn't. And that's the thing too, is all of this is just so personalized as well. Lastly, yes, just to keep it on the shorter, sweeter side, I feel like I'm also still in a very big life come down right now from everything. But I just feel like I don't think you ever are not in a big time of change and possibility and stuff. Everyone kind of moves at their own pace, and depending on where you are in your life, there's big things, and then it kind of lulls out, and then it gets big again. And I just wanted to come on here today to tell you that whether you're in a big time of change and big decisions are upon you, and dare I say even more, if you think you're in a safe spot, but there's been decisions knocking on the door, almost like there's nothing pertinently right in front of you, but it's why do I hear echoes of these big decisions of move somewhere, change your job, blah, 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 break up with them? Dare I say that's the most important place to be fucking sticking your ear to the wall. If you're out here hearing echoes, guys, if you hear these little echoes, these LaCroix kind of whispers of shit, listen, because that's how you know that there might just be a block right there, and it might just be your time. And that, like I said too, we know more than we think. If there are things around you, a lot of the time, that's happening for a reason. If there's people constantly saying things around you, constantly saying, oh, you should apply to that, constantly saying oh, why don't you date them, constantly saying something, the universe is just talking through people, it's almost Black Mirror, if you will. The universe puts a seed above someone else's head to communicate with you, It's not always going to come to you as a download, if you will, straight from the cloud into your head. Sometimes it comes as someone saying it to you, or sometimes it comes as you see this thing all the time. God, why do I keep seeing flyers for this thing? Put your ear to the wall, and I think do that the most when it's just the lowest of lulls, the lowest of whispers, and you just kind of keep catching it here and there. Obviously, if the echoes are loud as well, definitely listen in. But I think sometimes you can almost get ahead of the game when it's just when it's on the low. I don't know. But yeah, I feel for anything, if you're kind of feeling lost for your next idea for something, feeling any type of way of confusion or just uninspiration or anything really, it doesn't fix every problem. But I think there are many different ways, and even in relationships too, if things are being weird, listen, ask someone and then listen to them. And I don't know, I just think there's a lot we can gain in our life through just listening, whether it is to people, to the universe, to the signs around us. And I just want to come on here and remind you of that, because sometimes we love to fill our lives up with noise, and we like to be distracted, and we like to just work and think we know the answers and just move forward. But sometimes you need to stop at a little stop sign and look around and maybe redirect. Love it, guys. Love it. Super short, sweet, cute, and simple, but I hope it was a fun little reminder for you. And I hope that after this, you actually turn off everything and just listen for a second and just see what comes to you. Maybe it's an idea, or maybe it's a big life revelation and you're oh, fuck, Caitlin, damn it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I don't know, I'm excited for 2026 with you guys. I feel like when recording in the morning, all like cozy and cute. It's like, I'm like, oh, it's so cold. It's like 72 degrees. But I'm like, oh, guys, I think a Caitlin's Corner episode is like right around the corner for us, and I'm excited for her because I love that stuff. So yeah, thanks for listening. Peace and love and peace. Open your ears, open your eyes, open your hearts. Bye bye.